From the Alex Trebek stage at Sony Picture Studios, this is Inside Jeopardy!
Hello and welcome back to Inside Jeopardy on this spooky pre-Halloween day. It's your exclusive and official podcast destination for all things happening in the world of Jeopardy! I'm Sarah Foss, and I'm joined today by Buzzy Cohen, or should I call you Alan?
Well, I don't think you should call me Alan, unfortunately.
Not now.
I think we should let our listeners in.
Yes.
We did actually get this group costume together.
We did.
Ken is Ken.
Ken is Ken. I was Barbie. Buzzy was
Alan.
Alan. We were photographed together on the stage. We were really excited to share it with everyone for our hashtag Deathly Double competition. The very next day, SAG-AFTRA announced, please do not wear any costumes promoting films, which we would in fact be doing.
Yes.
So maybe next Halloween, you're going to see this costume.
So I'm thinking about wearing a blonde wig and a suit and tie and being Ken.
Oh, okay.
Like our Ken, and make it a little double entendre Ken. But anyway, yes, when the strike is sorted,
which is hopefully soon. We're going to share that photo. That was fun.
But this is your last chance, everyone.
Yes.
Tomorrow is Halloween, but, we've got a last chance, I know, this week to post your hashtag Deathly Double costume so that we can rate it, criticize you, or commend you.
There's no criticism on Inside Jeopardy now. Only of the contestant interviews. You like to criticize those sometimes. But
not
a Deathly Double costume.
Not a Deathly Double costume. We're happy that you're
all
doing
praise. I love the effort.
It's
I love
really fun.
The things people are coming up with. So
and once again, I haven't said it enough. You have a chance to win
a
photograph of Ken Jennings signed by Buzzy Cohen.
Yes, and you will be only the second person to own such a prize.
That's right.
Because only last year's champion of this contest is the current holder of such a gift.
That's right. And now I'm thinking, the wheels are turning.
Okay.
What if next year we take a picture of me dressed up as Ken and have Ken sign that?
Don't get too ahead of yourself, Buzzy. One exciting gift at a time.
One Deathly Double at a time.
We can't take it.
Well, my family, we are off to the races on our Halloween costumes.
Ooh, tell me more.
Well, two of them I cannot talk about because they're SAG related, my wife and I, but we're scrambling to replace them.
They will not be photographed, don't worry.
Exactly. We're trying to figure out how to do that because we do support the SAG strike. My oldest daughter gotten really into Lord of the Rings this year.
A little late, but it's new to her.
Late? Oh, yeah, new to her.
I mean,
yeah.
That's what's so cool. It's like when you watch a show that people have been watching for years and you're like, this is the greatest thing. And people are like, yeah,
we know.
It is.
So, yes, she's very into Lord of the Rings. So she's going to be Legolas.
Wow.
Legolas. My younger one wanted to be Katy Perry from the Roar video and then actually wanted all of us to be other Katy Perrys. She wanted the whole family to do.
There are a lot.
There are a lot of Katy Perrys.
You can really go in many directions with that one.
Week ago, changed her mind and said, no, I want to be Jasmine from Aladdin.
Okay.
So we did a quick change, and now I'm told that she's going to be Jasmine from Aladdin this year, Katy Perry Roar next year, then Taylor Swift, and then the following year, an owl. Okay. So we've got 5 years of costumes laid out, which is way more planned ahead than I've ever been in my life.
That sounds very much like the Foss family.
Yes. I imagine there's a spreadsheet somewhere.
Yeah, which film haven't we done? How many characters does it consist of? But
it's like the Farmer's Almanac over there. You've got a whole star chart going on.
People have been saying, wow, Halloween is so big. Everyone's gotten so into Halloween this year. I said, oh no.
Yeah.
We've been into Halloween.
Yes.
Lots of Halloween at the Foss house. So yes, we are doing Wizard of Oz.
Who's everyone going to be?
Well, my youngest is going to be Glinda. My older one, Dorothy. My husband is the Tin Man. My mom is the Scarecrow. Our dog is the Lion. And I'm the Wicked Witch. Yeah, I actually have practiced my prosthetic nose and chin that I will be applying. And I'm going to my daughter's school to volunteer for their party tomorrow. So
here's a big question.
I might scare most of the children.
Here is a big question. And this is the sort of thing that a Jeopardy nerd, the people, aka the people listening, aka me, aka you,
we love all of them, and
would
ourselves.
Take issue with. Are we going with ruby slippers per the film or silver slippers per the book?
Yes, we are going film.
Okay.
Yes, I think my daughter's favorite part about the costume is the ruby slippers. And I purchased some, and then she looked at the photos of the actual shoes. They didn't have the correct gems, so we've added some bedazzling.
So she's less interested in the allegory for the gold and silver standard that was being debated around the turn of the century in the United States.
She's like full ruby slipper. And we dressed up last weekend too, Buzzy. So
Whoa.
yes.
Same outfits or different?
No, different outfits. Hollywood Bowl, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh my God, yes.
30th anniversary.
Yes.
So Jack Skellington, I was a Sally. We had a Noogie Boogie. We had a shock. We had a barrel. We were missing a lock.
We actually just watched Nightmare Before Christmas. We had a movie night on Friday. We ordered pizza and
Pizza popcorn movie night. That's a
popcorn
tradition
movie
too.
night.
Yeah.
I think you guys should do something very funny, which I saw once and it made me laugh. Since you're going to be Wizard of Oz, do a music video and call it Gingham Style.
Oh, I like what you did there. Gingham Style. My husband, I remember when that song came out and he knew about it like long before everyone. And he told me like, you got to see this. And I thought it was ridiculous. And I'm like, no one's going to like this. And he was right. I was wrong. And now we're talking about it.
One of my favorite weird facts is how the TV show ER is why we ended up with Gangnam Style, BTS, Parasite, and Squid Game.
Oh, yes.
Do you know this whole thing?
I think you've talked about it.
Yeah. Well, I've probably talked about it on
Well,
the pod.
I think about BTS. You connected BTS.
Yeah. But it's Psy. It came out of the same thing. Yeah.
Look at
It's a
that.
crazy, crazy story. Anyone can go on my Twitter. It's all there. Big thread. In the meantime, let's...
Jeopardy airtime.
In the mean Jeopardy airtime.
Yeah, Jeopardy airtime. We are in the midst of another exciting Champions wildcard. We're in the Diamonds group, of course. This is Group 2. Still got the clubs and the hearts to go. The spades are in the rearview mirror. And we're also halfway through our Celebrity Jeopardy quarterfinals. So a lot going on. We're going to highlight those games, Buzzy. And we have a special guest later in today's show. Champions wildcard finalist and fan favorite Lucy Ricketts is going to join us. Legend Lucy Ricketts is going to join us to talk about her Jeopardy journey and her recent return to the Alex Trebek stage. But right now it's time for my favorite news segment. We're going to take a look back at this week in Jeopardy history. And today we're heading back to season 17.
Let's go to Regina now. Did she come up with Francis Gary Powers? She gave it a great deal of thought, and she came up with Powers, and I assume you didn't mean Shorty Powers, so we're accepting that. And oh boy, you double your score, 10,200, putting you in the lead as we come to Brad Rutter. Did he come up with Powers? Yes. And his wager, 2,401, taking him to 10,201, and he becomes the new champ. Margin is small, but that's all right. We'll see you tomorrow, Brad. Good game, players. Thank you. Great way to start off the week.
That's right. It was on this very day 23 years ago when the world was first introduced to Jeopardy's highest money winner, Brad Rutter. Brad won the maximum amount of consecutive games he could win at the time. Of course, you could only win 5 games before you had to retire. He did that as an undefeated Jeopardy champion, winning just over $50,000. Brad would return the following year for the Tournament of Champions, won that one, took home a $100,000 grand prize. Then he came back, the $1 Million Masters Tournament. He won that. That was $1 million. Then he comes back for the Ultimate Tournament of Champions. That's $2 million. Oh, yeah, he wins that. Then the Battle of the Decades. Wins that one, too. The All-Star Games. Oh, yes, he won that. In the middle, we had the IBM Challenge, which he didn't win, but he lost to a computer.
Yes.
So then finally, he comes back for the greatest of all time tournament, the GOAT. He is defeated for the first time by a human, of course, Ken Jennings, named the GOAT. But despite the success of James and Ken and all of our other big champions, Brad still holds the top spot on the leaderboard of legends for all-time winnings, including tournaments. You ready for this number? $4,938,436, nearly $5 million.
Unreal. I mean, he is one of the best to ever do it. I always love, a lot of the times in these big tournaments, the finals would be Brad, Ken, and someone else.
Yes.
Right? That was the running joke.
That was it, yes.
And
whether it be Roger Craig or Jerome Barron.
Yep.
Or Watson.
And Ken joked with me once that he was always a bridesmaid, never a Brad.
Yes, I love that line.
But yeah, Brad is a great guy. I've gotten to know him through the LA pub trivia scene. He's very, very warm and welcoming, and he's a coworker of mine now, one of the
Right.
fellow chasers on The Chase, and a well-dressed man.
He is a well-dressed man, and someone that certainly people talked about when we did Masters. Where is Brad Rutter? He's the highest money winner of all time. And
Yeah.
we said, well, the last time we saw Brad was the GOAT. It wasn't necessarily his best performance, but you have to think when we're talking about the Jeopardy Invitational Tournament, the best players in the show's history coming back to prove that they are still among the best. Gotta think that Brad's name is in that conversation.
100%, and excited for a return of
I know.
Mr. Rutter to the
Just
Alex
talking
Trebek.
about all those wins, and obviously I was here for most of them except for his first run.
Yeah.
But adding up, oh my goodness, he's done it again. And there would be times where it didn't seem like he was going to
Totally.
win those tournaments. And not that he's the luckiest player ever to play, but he certainly had
Yeah.
some things fall his way, and he always found a way
Yeah.
to win.
Well, and I think one of the things that'll be interesting in that Jeopardy Invitational Tournament is the level of confidence and comfort that different players have. As we've talked with our Champions Wildcard, as we've talked with Masters, that certainly comes into play. And I'm, of this field, which we don't know what it is, but
Right.
nobody's played more Jeopardy, I can imagine, than Brad.
Yeah, because Ken will be most likely
Ken will
hosting
be,
it. So.
Yeah, Ken will be hosting it, and the only person who maybe comes close is James.
Yeah, next to Brad, I would have to think. Yeah.
And James won't be in it because he was going right to Masters
He's
again.
going right to Masters. So, lots of things to look forward to. But right now, let's head into those game highlights.
Yes.
We kicked off the week with our second quarterfinal in the Diamonds group, the long-awaited return of Isaac Applebaum from the 2022 Jeopardy! National College Championship. You will remember that Isaac was invited to play in our first ever Second Chance, but he was unable to compete due to a conflict that came up. So he's back in Champions Wildcard. We figured he would definitely be included because, of course, he was a champion in the college championship. We also welcomed back Pasquale Palumbo and Leah Wiegand. And this was a great game. Very close throughout. All three players battling through Double Jeopardy, but Pasquale and Isaac each responded incorrectly to Daily Double. So this allowed Leah to take a small lead heading into final. Both Isaac and Leah were able to come up with the correct response, but because Leah had that lead heading in, she was able to secure a spot. Now, Buzzy, a little bit of an odd wager for Leah in final. She wagers only $5,000, so that wouldn't have covered second place if Isaac doubles up. Of course, Isaac didn't go all in, so
Right.
it turns out to be irrelevant, but still was wondering, what was happening with that wager.
I'm trying to do some math over here, and I can't quite figure out what was Leah's, logic behind it. She's not playing to cover Isaac doubling. She's not playing if Isaac bets for her to get it wrong and beat it. So I'm not super clear on what's going on here, but it could just be a gut feeling based on the category. That's not always the wrong thing to do. It worked out here.
Yes.
Leah proves a point which, we don't always think about, which is first thing you want to do on Jeopardy is be more right than your opponents. But if that isn't happening for whatever reason, also being less wrong can work. And sometimes just hanging in and having a lot of self-control and not, making a lot of guesses, getting a lot of things wrong can be just as helpful a way to a win as she showed us here today.
Well, Leah wins, and she had explained in her interview that she took her daughter to Disney World with her original winnings. So, of course, her daughter asked, Mom, can you go back on Jeopardy so that we can go to Disney World again? So as soon as Leah wins, Ken, of course, says, congratulations, you're going to Disney World, and you're a semifinalist. Later in the post-game chat, Ken said, I got to know, which is sweatier, Disney World or having to play Jeopardy again? And she said, well, they do keep the studio very cold, but still, it's not that she's not sweating on the Alex Trebek stage. And I have to say it was great to have Isaac back.
Yeah.
In his initial run, he had talked to us about how his mom was in remission for her cancer, and it had really inspired him in terms of what he wanted to do with his career because he really wanted to have more knowledge and be able to help save others who received a cancer diagnosis. And it was great to hear that his mom is now 5 years cancer-free. We head into Tuesday with Steve Krupe, Jelana Cotter, our recent Second Chance champion, who's got her time to be a champion now that she's won that competition, and John Vigna. Jelana put on a dominant performance with the help of 2 daily doubles. She was on her way to a runaway, but Steve was able to sneak in with the last clue of Double Jeopardy to stay in contention, so it really all came down to final. Steve wagered everything, unable to come up with the correct response, so Jelana punches her ticket right to the semifinals. In the interview, Jelana talked about originally she auditioned for Kids Week way back in 2001, but she's happy she saved her eligibility. And John, you may remember, was part of our season of Mohawks. So,
yes.
Ken even commented, like, John, what happened to the Mohawk? And he said, well, I still have a half hawk, and we will have some more Mohawks coming up in this group because we have TJ Talley and we also have Dave Rapp. And we did wonder when we were booking them, are we going to have 3 Mohawks in one competition? That could be a Jeopardy record. As it turns out, John has a half hawk, but I'm happy to report that TJ and Dave showed up with full Mohawks, which meant they were in the audience during the taping of this show.
Yes.
So Ken, in fact, asked the first audience after he was saying goodbye, did y'all have a good time? If you're sitting behind someone with a mohawk, did you still have a good time? Because, your view can be obstructed a bit from that.
Yeah, what a great game. Well played by Jelana. I wonder, do you feel, having just seen her play in Second Chance and then come back and play so dominantly, do you feel like having had the warm-up of Second Chance is part of what gave her an edge here?
I think so. All of these players, none of them had played in years because it is season 37 and season 38. So a little bit of an advantage, I would have to say, to the Second Chance champions who have played more recently. And if you come away with a win in Second Chance, you played 3 games recently. So you're really coming in probably a little bit stronger than your competition. But hey, it's Jeopardy. Anything can happen.
Yep.
In this game, I have to say, my favorite moment, countries that border India. Let's listen back to a refresher.
Yeah.
Countries that border India for 2000.
In the northeast, India's Arunachal Pradesh state shares a border with this nation's Kachin state. John.
What is Nepal?
Sorry, no. Steve or Jelana? It's actually Myanmar or Burma.
Countries that border India, 1600.
India shares an 1,100-mile border with this former kingdom and the practice of Hinduism by the majorities of both their people. Jelana?
What is China?
No. John?
What is Nepal?
Nepal is correct now.
Why are you going to talk about
Pulling you out of the hole.
Countries that border India, 1,200, please.
The answer there is the Daily Double. It's a tight match, and you just snatched the last Daily Double, John. What do you want to do here?
Oh, well, obviously, no, 700, please.
Keeping an eye on the downside. Here's your clue in countries that border India. In 1967, India and this nation had a military clash along the border of Sikkim, then an Indian protectorate, and today a state.
What is Bangladesh?
Sorry, no, it's China. China drops you down to 100 with only 2 clues left, John.
Countries that border India, 800, please.
India's longest land border, some 2,500 miles, is with this nation that gained independence in 1971. Steve?
What is Pakistan?
No. John?
What is Bangladesh?
That was a risk, but yes, it is now Bangladesh. And the final clue in countries that border India, the border between India and this nation includes the village of Wagah, with its rival army parades performed there daily. Steve?
What is Pakistan?
Yes.
Yeah, and Ken even had a little bit of a laugh with the contestants about that category after the game.
I really enjoyed the category about countries that border India.
I was so bad at that.
In 4 of the 5, one of you gave an incorrect response, and in every case, it was the correct response for the other clue. So
That's awesome.
So if somebody was trying to feed you answers on, in a dark alley last night, they had them all in the wrong order. I'm sorry to tell you. But congratulations, Jelana. You went from Second Chance to Champions Wildcard and now to the semifinals. So we'll see what happens then.
Congratulations.
You can't write this stuff sometimes. It just happens, and that was one of those. It was a great TV moment, probably less for the contestants, but definitely for all of us watching.
Isn't it funny how sometimes that happens where, it's sort of like the Talkin' Football one. Not so great if you're one of the contestants, but for the folks at home and the larger audience, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, we move on to Wednesday where Carlos Chaidez, Emily Sands, and Philip Howard took the stage. All 3 players off to a great start, but Emily went on a tear in Double Jeopardy with 14 correct responses and $9,000 earned on just 2 daily doubles. She didn't actually have a runaway. She was just shy of a runaway. It all comes down to final, just like our previous game. But this time, final was a triple stumper. Thankfully, due to that minimal wager that she needed to make, Emily was able to take the win.
Super dominant performance, really amazing and impressive by Emily. But I also want to shout out Carlos. Carlos had a 94% correct, and Philip, who, didn't put up a huge score, was 100% correct, did not give an incorrect answer. If you take away those $9,000 from Daily Doubles, we've got ourselves a very close game. We've got Philip at about $9,000, Carlos at about 13, and Emily at about 16. So just shows some games the Daily Doubles make the difference, some they don't. And this was one where it really did, but well played by all three of these champions.
Well, I have to say, Buzzy, now that we have audiences back, people are upping their game. We had our first audience sign that we've had in a long time, and it said, "You are Knuff."
Yes.
And Ken joked, "My job is clues." Like,
my job is beach. Yeah.
They actually gave the sign to Ken, and I can confirm it is now hanging in his dressing room. I think it's his first fan sign that he has received. So people are really upping it now that the audience is back.
Yes.
We've got signs. We've got wild, ruckus audiences.
It's like turning into Let's Make a Deal out there in that audience.
Yeah, we're going to have costumes soon. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen?
If you or Jimmy start asking people to come on down like it's The Price is Right.
No. It's not going to happen. We're Jeopardy. We're not going to do that.
That would be a fun way to announce because the other contestants do sit in the audience.
Yes.
Maybe we should talk to the contestant team and have them say, Emily Sands, Philip Howard, come on down.
Yeah, I think that's a great show, and it's done well. And that's that show. And we're Jeopardy, so we get to do our own thing.
All right.
Disney park songs. Did you like that category, Buzzy?
Loved it.
I mean, I ran that category, and I have a feeling you did too.
I absolutely did. I think the park songs are among my most favorite songs. They're certainly the ones that we listen to the most in the car, whether it's Tiki Room, Haunted Mansion, which we heard here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Love a Thurl Ravenscroft.
That was deep. Nice. Well done. All right, back to Emily and her big win. She shared a bit about her buzzer discipline this time around, something that she had changed from her original run. Let's take a listen to what she had to say during the post-game chat.
That was quite a game. You had 49 attempts on the buzzer, which is absolutely TOC level play. Assuming you knew them and weren't just, swinging away, but it seemed like you knew them.
I think I did. I guessed a lot on my first appearances, and one of the things I practiced was buzzer discipline. If you don't know the correct response, you don't have to buzz in.
Little known fact.
Right. Had to learn that.
You can just not say a wrong thing.
Yeah.
But it's so tempting. The buzzer's right there and nobody's buzzing in. This is my moment. But I think you're right. A lot of good Jeopardy advice circles around. What if you kept your mouth shut if you're not too sure?
Yeah.
But then there's all the self-knowledge of, am I sure? Like, I have a thing. Do I say it? It's a very tricky kind of meta skill.
It is. And I don't like to leave someone hanging. So when it was like a triple stumper, I'm like, I'll buzz in, just
it's like
pity.
A conversational people pleasing.
That's it.
But that was a great game. All three of you played well. Thank you for coming back and joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
you, Ken.
And Emily, we'll see you in the semifinals. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Buzzer discipline is something I think is extremely important. And I sort of alluded to it in that Monday game. Sometimes not being wrong is just as important as being right.
All right, with that, we head into Thursday's quarterfinal game with Yoshi Hill, Mason Maggio, and Tony Freitas. This was an incredible game. Mason dominated the Jeopardy round, ending with nearly $10,000. He appeared to be running away with it in Double Jeopardy, but he fell victim to a big $6,000 Daily Double. Again, that was a big wager with such a big lead, and it just opened the door for Yoshi and Tony. Both of them worked their way into contention heading into final. Yoshi just $2,000 behind Mason. Mason's unable to come up with the correct response, and so Yoshi goes all in. She's correct, and she caps off that surprising come-from-behind win. I have to say, there was a really sweet moment during the interview where Yoshi talked about her game with Alex. She was on Alex's last game, and she said, this was a man who was very sick, and he was standing so close to her, and that he looked good and that she would have never known. He had so much energy and focus with each contestant. It must have been a tremendous amount of effort for him to maintain that level of professionalism on that day. A lot of applause from the audience because obviously all of us who were working then, we knew the pain that he was in when he was
Yeah.
off camera. And so to see him come out every time and be the host for those contestants that they needed him to be, it really is remarkable. And it was nice to have someone back who,
Yeah.
really experienced that firsthand from the
Yeah.
contestant point of view.
Yoshi and Mason both playing with Alex. It's like kind of nice going back and having these people come back now. And especially, as you've mentioned, the people who first played during COVID. I got to say, that is a tough loss for Mason. He played a great game, and I hope he holds his head up high.
Yes, I saw he and his fiance actually in the breezeway as they were leaving. And I said just that. It's Jeopardy. It's just, you played a great game and anything can happen on that stage. And we could run it back and it could have a different outcome.
Totally.
That's the hard thing, especially with all these great champions.
Yeah.
You really could have any number of outcomes depending on how many times you run it back and what the categories are and who finds the daily double. It's Jeopardy.
And I know that Michael Davies likes to say Jeopardy is a sport, and sometimes that is true, and sometimes it's also a game. And like a game, it's not quite just skill against skill. There's a lot of randomness and chance in this. It's important to keep that in mind, too. It's not always the strongest player who wins, as evidenced by the fact that I've won.
Oh, Buzzy, you're a strong player. No matter what, you're a TOC champion.
Yeah.
Well, we closed out the week with our 6th quarterfinal game. Eric Lowe, Corey Burns-Barger, and Brian Adams. Now, Brian, actually, this game aired on the 3-year anniversary of his last win that he had on the Alex Trebek stage. So that had to be a bit of a good omen for him. Eric and Brian were neck and neck throughout the game. Corey found both daily doubles in double Jeopardy, but split them. So that allows Eric to take the lead heading into final with Brian still in contention. In Final Jeopardy, Brian goes all in. He's the only player to come up with the correct response. He goes from 3rd to 1st place, securing a victory, and our 2nd come-from-behind win of the week.
What a week. What a week. I mean, like, near runaways, multiple come-from-behind wins. It's all happening in this competition.
Yeah, you get it all here in the Champions Wildcard Diamond Group. All right, heading back to Wednesday night in primetime for our 5th Celebrity Jeopardy quarterfinal game, we have Oscar winner Mira Sorvino, Adam Rodriguez, Peter Schrager. Mira and Peter battled neck and neck throughout the game. Peter slowly pulling away in Triple Jeopardy, but Mira scored on the last daily double to put herself in striking distance. Mira ends up gaining the lead heading into final. All 3 players in contention, though, so it's really coming down to that final clue. And they're all correct. So thankfully, Mira able to protect her lead, and she advances to the semifinals. To sum up the quality of the competition in this game, only 8 triple stumpers out of 91 clues.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good, especially in a celebrity game.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, do you think Mira had a little bit of a leg up since she has been a Jeopardy clue 9 times and joins Jodie Foster as the 2nd Oscar-winning actor to compete on Celebrity Jeopardy? Do you think that gives her a leg?
That's got to be impressive. And Adam, he drove 17 hours to make it to the taping. So, he's got to have something to blame after that above, below, or intersected by the equator category. He actually responded incorrectly to 4 out of the 5 clues. And after the 3rd response, Adam said, "You've got to be kidding me." And Ken joked, "Will it happen again?" And sure enough, it did.
My God.
You think it's easy. It's below, it's above, it's intersected by, but geography, the equator, you never know what can happen. I actually heard him singing when he walked off the stage, "I lost on Jeopardy, baby." So at least he had some humor about it, and it was a great game, and it will continue again next week. But right now it's time for our host chat. This week it was an audience member from one of our Celebrity Jeopardy tapings who asked Ken, "What are you going to be for Halloween?"
What am I going to be for Halloween? I'm not the biggest Halloween guy. Like, we don't have a family theme. Sarah, for example, is going to have a Wizard of Oz family. Sarah's a witch. And what's your costume this year? Classic bit. Classic bit you get to see here on Jeopardy. A little bit of vaudeville for you. Sarah's the Wicked Witch of the West. I just got the I Am Kenough hoodie from the end of Barbie. And between that and my very stiff posture, I think my costume is all ready to go. I'm going to be a Ken doll.
Yeah, real funny, Ken.
Yeah.
What are you going to be, Sarah? What's your costume? Ha ha, the witch. No, he said it in love, of course. He loves me, and that He does.
Everyone loves you,
just
Sarah.
Just take my word for it. But that's when we first heard about his Knuff hoodie.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what inspired us to do our Ken Barbie Allen costume, which you will never see. But after he did that question, I said, Ken, do you really have that sweatshirt? And he said, yes. I said, will you bring it next time? And he said, sure. So anyway, the rest is Halloween history. But right now it is time to talk with Lucy Ricketts. Lucy Ricketts, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, obviously, when you first appeared on the show, you had an impressive 3-game streak, and people were loving Lucy Ricketts. Did you feel that support during your initial run?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It was a little overwhelming at first, but it was all so kind. And yeah, I think overwhelming is just the main word. I'm not used to experiencing that level of attention, even though it wasn't, enormous. It was still enough that I was like, oh, wow.
What was your most surprising moment of recognition or J-fame? Jame? Did we just coin Jame? No.
Jame? Okay.
Jepper fame?
All right,
okay. Jepper fame. I like
I'll
that
work
better.
with that.
Yeah.
That's a great question because it is really kind of niche. It was more all of the people, I think, who came out of my past in a weird way to be like, oh my God, I saw you.
I know you.
Right. I was your 3rd grade teacher. What are you up to? Yeah. So it was really more like that, kind of a reconnecting with people in this way that was really cool and heartening because it kind of felt like coming full circle in a way. Like all the people who had taught me or, never thought I'd amount to anything. No, I'm just kidding.
You showed them.
All the haters. Yeah, exactly.
You showed them. Well, full circle, tell me about your Jeopardy journey, when you started watching the show and, when you decided to try out.
I've been watching the show as long as I can remember. My grandmother was a huge Jeopardy fan, and we watched it every night from the time I was really little. And so she would always say things, because, I would have a problem not piping up, as like a lot of us do. And she'd be like, you got to get on there one day. You got to get on there one day. And so during the pandemic, I am an illustrator, so the freelance work had kind of petered out a little. And I was like, it sounds horrible to say, but like, I need a way to try to make some extra money. And I would also maybe just to see if I could do Jeopardy, if I could make the cut. And so on a whim, just one day sitting in my apartment, I just tried out, and then I forgot about it until they called me.
So you took the anytime test just on a whim.
Yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
love that.
First time in.
Yeah. I just really wasn't thinking too hard about it, and that sounds kind of terrible to say, but I wasn't thinking I would get called or I'd ever hear about it again.
Well, you get the call, and you came in a unique time. You were here during our guest host period, but you did have Ken Jennings as your guest host. So what was it like to come to the Alex Trebek stage and experience Jeopardy in real life? You're a player.
My day that I taped was Ken's first day. So it was the first day back in production after Alex had passed. So that in itself was a little sobering. Obviously, production was very upset, and it was a strange time, not to even mention it being the height of COVID, November 2020. So all of that combined with it being Ken's first day, there was just, I feel in a way kind of lucky to have been there at that time, because it felt so pivotal and kind of the sea change for the game and everything. But it was great, and Ken was wonderful, and I know he was so nervous, but he made us all feel so welcome and calm, and it was a great experience.
I remember that day. It was a unique day for all of us, and I think we wondered, could Jeopardy go on? We had only ever known it with Alex, and not that we didn't think Ken was completely capable, but you never heard anyone else host that show, with the exception of the one time Pat Sajak did it on a April Fool's, whim. Do it. So I think, to say, not that you feel lucky, but to have been there on that day when we all kind of had the first of the day forward, the first of many days we hoped Jeopardy would have, but none of us really knew what to expect or what would become, of the show we all loved. And obviously the show that Alex, we know, wanted to go on. He more than anyone would have said, get on with the show already, but it was still a unique day.
It was. I guess lucky's the wrong word. I feel like it was interesting to be a part of Jeopardy history in that way, and to be a part of bringing Alex's legacy forward like that.
So you mentioned that you are, an illustrator, and we come across children's books for that Final Jeopardy in your first run.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. This 1969 book was first printed in Japan because no U.S. company would then make a book with so many holes in the pages.
That haunts me. Yeah.
I didn't mean to bring it up, Lucy, but, I have to know, our contestants often talk about you get your head on one thing and you can't really see anything different. So tell me what went on for you in that 30-second period.
Honestly, nothing. I remember I had a hard time with my Final Jeopardies in that run, and that was one where I was just like, no, it was just nothing. Like, normally you get on a one-track kind of thing and you can't deviate from it, but that was a total blank. And as soon as I saw the first person's answer, I was like, wow, of course, groundbreaking moment in children's literature, and very cool, Lucy, that you couldn't even come up with that. Yeah. So I work in children's publishing, so
yeah,
I've had a lot to think about. Yeah.
You are probably the only person who is haunted by Eric Carle.
Yeah, not a very haunting character, but yeah.
No, as a ghost, I'll take it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I missed a final about Apple, and I just finished working at the ad agency that did Apple ads. It was like really hard to live down, so I feel you.
It's the things closest to us that we can't see.
So you leave that day as a 3-game champion, and then you hear, many people don't know that you were actually an alternate for the 2022 Tournament of Champions. So what's it like to be an alternate? Buzzy has been, a syndicated tape day alternate, but what's that like when it's something like the TOC?
It was thrilling. Honestly, that was one of the most fun experiences. I mean, I don't want to say, but it was awesome to not have once I kind of knew that I probably wouldn't be going on, just to be there in the presence of all of those champions, because that was a season that included, Amy Schneider and Adam Odio and Matea. I don't get starstruck, but that was really in this nerd community, I was just like, oh wow. And I sat behind Ken's parents for the taping, and they were so sweet and talked to me the whole time. That was one of the coolest. I didn't have to be stressed.
You didn't have to be stressed. Yeah.
Right.
You got to just go to the party and not actually have to give the speech.
Exactly.
So you leave us at that point and you're thinking, okay, my Jeopardy journey, it's complete. It's been great. I'm a 3-game champion. I've had experiences I didn't expect. So talk me through when you first started hearing about Champions Wildcard and that this opportunity for season 37 and season 38 champions was going to come about.
Well, weirdly enough, I had no idea. I hadn't heard anything about it. The past year, I'd moved, I'd started a new job, I'd gone through a lot of life changes, and I had just been so overwhelmed. I hadn't been keeping up with Jeopardy news as much as I normally would. So when I got the call and I saw John Barra's name on my phone, no thoughts were going through my mind. I just remember immediately picking up. Immediately. Then once he mentioned it, embarrassingly again, he was like, I'll give you a day or so to think it over. I was like, nope, don't need to. I'll do it. No problem. Just tell me when. I'll be there. I'm so excited.
Well, in the Jeopardy community, the minute we announced it, your name was one of the names people said, I can't wait to see Lucy back. It's so great that Lucy's coming back. So, once again, people are talking about you and in a favorable way. And what does that feel like really among the Jeopardy community?
Again, I hate to keep using the word overwhelming, but it feels great. It feels great, in short. I feel so honored to be someone that anyone would talk about, much less people that intelligent and part of a community that I absolutely adore. I have a little bit of imposter syndrome too, so it always I always worry about being able to live up to that kind of expectation, but it felt really great. And I just remember thinking, because I didn't read anything, but I remember my sister saying, oh, people really want to see you back on Jeopardy. And I remember thinking, oh man, I can't disappoint. I've got to show up.
So with that in mind, you get the call, you cut off John and say, I'm coming. What happens next? Talk me through your preparation, but also just kind of like psychologically what process you went through.
So I remember immediately feeling terrified. Weird sensation, but I do remember feeling like, oh wow, nobody gets this second chance. I cannot blow this. And then I remember thinking, all right, plans canceled for the next 3 weeks or whatever. Mom's gonna have to study. Like, yeah, that's all we're doing here. So it was, psychologically, I felt strangely even more nervous than I think I did the first time I went on. Maybe because I knew what to expect a little more, and like the ways that I would have to prepare and the competition I would be going up against. But yeah, I immediately got on J-Archive. I was like, all right, let's go.
And then you come in and quarterfinal, you have
Kick
a
butt.
runaway game. Bam! How did that feel?
Incredibly unexpected. And
Maybe for you. The
Yeah,
rest of us
I-
knew you were a butt kicker, so.
well, thank you, Buzzy. It was, I had done really poorly in the rehearsal that morning, and I was so nervous. We were the first three to tape that day, and I was like, oh, just don't embarrass yourself. Like, just do what you can. And I remember asking John Barra, like, has anybody ever, like, thrown up or passed out, like, on stage? Because I feel like that's where I'm at right now. And he was like, oh, yeah, for sure. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you
So,
got this.
right, that was reassuring. So once I kind of, like, got in a groove, it felt better, but I was absolutely not expecting it. Yeah.
Well, even after that first game, Ken said to you, boy, you look so calm. And you said, I am not feeling calm at all. I'm just in shock,
No.
and I do not feel calm.
Calm never was an adjective I would use to describe myself in any of those games. So I'm grateful that I managed to look like it. But Cameron and Phil were both such strong competitors that I was really terrified.
Well, then you head into the semifinals. Bam! Another runaway, Lucy.
Yeah, that was also
Is the imposter system
unexpected
gone at
and-
that point yet? 2 runaway
no,
games?
absolutely not. Mm-mm. No. I still felt like, oh, wow, because I was the last of the semifinals to tape. And so once I saw Daniel and Joe, and I knew what strong competitors they were, especially in areas maybe that I wasn't as strong in, I was like, oh, man, this is going to be. And again, this just the thing about these tournaments is that like everyone you go up against is a champion. Everybody is well prepared. Everybody knows their stuff. So I was terrified.
I can say as someone who was just watching along, after your 2 runaways, I was like, all right, Lucy's got this in the bag. The kid is hot tonight, as Loverboy once said.
Yeah, well,
Sarah's just like, I don't know what to do with that.
I don't know what to do with that. But yes, you were certainly feeling a good streak. And now, obviously, those at home may not know, but the semifinals and the finals are all taped in the same day. So you get that semifinal win, and then you turn around and you head right into a 2-day total point affair. Talk me through how that was for you.
I was feeling so drained after that semifinal win. We had a chance to eat some lunch, and I was like trying to kind of collect myself because I knew I had to jump right back in it. But knowing, like, having to see Sam and Josh win, and I was intimidated a little, yeah, for sure. And also, it just, that kind of hangover after you win and have to immediately turn around and do it again, especially against competition like that. I knew I would have to bring my A game, but I was really trying to find the strength at that point because I was so drained after that other one.
Well, certainly held your own on day 1. You all are correct in final. You have the second highest score heading into day 2. But again, it's like a 20-minute turnaround between day 1 and day 2 of that 2-day total point fair. It's only like within an hour and a half for you guys.
And someone's probably yelling at you to change faster, correct?
Yeah, making sure I knew what I wanted to wear, doing that really quickly. And then I remember, because it had been a while since I'd watched like a full tournament game, so I remember like my mind was so muddled at that point asking Sam and Josh. I was like, okay, so it's like the total of this last game. And they were like, yeah, Lucy, yeah, it's the 2-game total. I was like, okay, I can do this. But I knew since I'd underperformed at least to my expectations a little in the game before, I was like, I gotta go back in and put my big girl pants on and try to, yeah.
Well, I think you put on your big girl pants, but it's all about those daily doubles.
Yeah.
And, when Josh hits that big daily double in Double Jeopardy, there's really not much you can do to control the game at that point.
No.
He's kind of locked up the win, but you still are correct in final. So, we'll talk about some stats, but you have to just feel really good about your appearance here in the Champions Wildcard among some really, really great competition.
Absolutely. Everyone I have talked to has been like, oh, I'm sorry, you played really well. And I immediately say, please do not apologize to me. I am so over the moon about where I came in and how I was able to perform. I never imagined getting that far, especially against this level of competition. I mean, Josh, like everyone, period, but Josh and Sam in those finals, I feel so grateful to have had the opportunity to play against such top level players. Like Josh deserved this in every sense of the word, and it was an honor to play with them.
Well, I want to give you a couple of kudos here. Now,
yes.
Number one, after saying you were not good at Final Jeopardy, and this competition had very tough finals. We talked about it. We've been talking about it on the pod, how very few games have more than one person correct. You got every single final that you faced in this competition correct.
Yeah, that was a big surprise to me.
That shows.
Yeah.
That's no imposter right there.
That's no imposter. Number two, I'm looking at your stats, and I'm taking away the daily doubles because I don't think those count if you get them wrong because you didn't have a choice. You might not have buzzed in. In your first game, only 2 incorrect responses. In your second game, I'm going to take away that daily double incorrect, 0 incorrect. Third game, the first game of the 2-day total, I'm going to take away those 2 daily doubles. You have 2 incorrect. And then in the last game, only 1 incorrect. That shows a player who is not only very knowledgeable, but really knows what they know and understands how the game of Jeopardy is played. So many people are incredibly smart, but they're buzzing in willy-nilly, and they end up hurting themselves. And I think one of the reasons that you were so strong and continue to play so strong is that kind of self-control.
Yes, and you talk about going up against Josh and Sam in the final, but you're putting up 23 correct responses in day 1, 20 correct responses in day 2, when everyone is buzzing in and everyone is knowing all the responses. So it's one thing to have that many correct responses, in a normal syndicated game, but to have that with this level of competition, Lucy Ricketts, you deserve to be on the Alex Trebek stage. No imposter syndrome.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Yeah, I put a lot of, strategy goes out the window in a lot of ways once you get up there because you're just trying to survive. But I've always tried to be very deliberate about buzzing in situations where I am 100% positive of the answer and not hurting myself by making guesses.
So I just rattled off a few of your stats from the wild card, but is there a Jeopardy stat or moment or something that happened that you are most proud of?
One of them is certainly getting all of those Final Jeopardies because that was something I had been terrified of. I was so bad my first time around. That's how I went out, was on a close Final Jeopardy. So being able to get those was a huge moment of pride for me. I think also being able to rattle off some old-time boxers in that,
that was
quarterfinal
impressive.
game. I felt pretty good about that. Yeah.
Nice. I have another question I've been asking everyone who comes on the pod, which is, what is your lunch order when you're here at Sony?
Again, like my game strategy, I like to play it safe. I like to have control. I'm trying to eliminate all of the potential for negative outcomes there.
Which is not something we can say about your competitor, Josh Sack.
No.
Whoa, his choices.
He's way outside
really
the lines.
Threw me out.
Honestly,
threw me off
it made me so nervous. Yeah, that made me so nervous. And then, especially that last day, the Poke Bowl, I was wow, gosh, wow,
yeah,
wow, stepping
risky.
out. So, I stuck to the salad bar.
Good for you.
No meat options. Again, just trying to play it safe.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted was some sort of physical disruption that I brought on myself.
As you mentioned, you were feeling, enough nausea on your own. You didn't
Exactly.
need the Sony commissary to help you out with any upset.
Right. That's not how I wanted to be taken down. Absolutely.
Taken down by a Pokeball.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
That is not going to be a Lucy Ricketts story. So you've had a few weeks to kind of reflect on the experience at this point. As you look back on it all, what stands out as being the best part about it for you?
Oh, hands down, the people that I got to meet. And like, as corny as it sounds, like all of the friends that I got to make, because again, like most of us didn't have a typical Jeopardy episode the first time around. We didn't really get to talk to each other. We were all separated. So getting to like spend time with these other people who were, to a person, so kind, so supportive. It was like being at summer camp with like, and everybody's your best friend. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. We still have a text. We keep in touch and support each other, and I'm trying to hype up Josh. So like that has by far, it's not easy to meet friends as an adult. So to go in and like have, 20 plus new best friends, like that was hands down the best part.
I love that.
Yeah, I will say, as a producer on the show, getting to see the 27 of you all hop up on stage at the very end of it all and taking pictures and selfies, and just that camaraderie has been definitely the most rewarding thing for me, because you hear about this Jeopardy community, but I don't think anyone has really seen it come to life in the same way that this competition has allowed, because of the experience that you guys had on the first go with just, it was a different experience. And then I think the appreciation of an unexpected return and this unexpected opportunity to bond with these people, it really is quite something. And I'm, sitting looking at it from a distance, but it makes me really happy. And, Josh talked about, you're helping him. You're going to help him get ready for the TOC. What better
absolutely.
squad?
Yeah.
Right? No, I'm so excited about it. Yeah.
You could say that the real champions wild card were the friends we made along the way.
In fact, I would say that.
Okay.
In fact, I would.
Should we make
Cohen,
some t-shirts?
Hallmark card maker on the
Please,
side. He's
please,
going to be selling
please.
some swag and Hallmark cards.
Well, so now you're on Team Josh, but I want to roll back a little bit. Coming into the competition, who were you picking as like, that's the one to beat?
I will be honest and say that I didn't do a lot of back research or think a lot about who my competition would be, because I knew if I did, I'd psych myself out. I was more focused on like, how can Lucy not defeat Lucy?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I want to say I appreciate that. I think and I honestly think that's the right attitude for anybody when you know who your competition is going to be. I think it's very easy to psych yourself out, and I think focusing on what you can do and yourself is and it shows how well you performed.
So what surprised you most about it all?
That's a big question, Sarah. What surprised me most, in addition to all of the friends that I got to make, which honestly was kind of surprising, because you go into this thinking, everybody's going to be real, like, high school quiz bowl levels of, exactly. I wasn't expecting everyone to be so welcoming and supportive. Other than that, I think just personally, I was surprised at my own ability to kind of hold myself together through the week. It's been like kind of a weird couple of years for me, just a lot of life changes. It's been kind of challenging, and this was something that like I was kind of going to do on my own by myself, with not much preparation, and I was terrified. And I got out there and realized like, this is the first time I've like really had my own hotel room all by myself. I came out of it feeling like I was proud of myself for just holding it together and for having a good experience. And honestly, the whole experience was a surprise. Everything was a surprise. Getting to go was a surprise. But I think the one I really wasn't expecting was A, the friendships, and B, just getting to see how I could take care of myself in a way.
I love that,
Beautiful.
Lucy. Well, I'm glad that maybe in some small way, you see what everyone
Yeah,
in our Jeopardy community has known since your first appearance.
The Lucy Ricketts fan club is vocal on Twitter, and
Yes.
I count myself as a member. So.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Buzzy. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Adding another great member to our wonderful Jeopardy community. Obviously, you were a Jeopardy champion since 2021 and now a second place Champions wild card winner. So I got to say, it's been just a pleasure to have you back. And thanks so much for exceeding all expectations, even though the bar was pretty high, Lucy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you guys. Thank you both, Buzzy and Sarah. This has been a tremendous pleasure.
Thanks for joining us.
What a delight.
Really, such a great time talking with Lucy. And I have it on insider information that she's planning to fly out from Atlanta to support Josh Sack in the Tournament of Champions. You have to think she's not going to be the only one from the Champions Wildcard Spades group that
I
will
hope
be
not.
making that trip. I can't wait for it. The reunion, the support, I love it all. I hope all of you listening are enjoying these interviews as much as we are enjoying getting to catch up with these players. And we're going to have another surprise interview for you next Monday, so be sure to join us then. And of course, we're going to highlight the rest of the Champions Wildcard quarterfinal games and the first two semifinal games for our Diamonds group, plus more Celebrity Jeopardy.
And most importantly,
Most
I mean, maybe
importantly-
not the most importantly, but it's
pretty
important to
important,
me.
yes.
We will be revealing the winner of the hashtag Deathly Double contest, the second annual Deathly Double contest. So be sure to submit your costume tomorrow for a chance to win the coveted prize. Maybe it's a photograph of Ken Jennings signed by me, Buzzy Cohen. Maybe it's a photograph of me,
No,
Buzzy
you're
Cohen.
going to save that for next year.
Okay. Well, it's going to be a photograph of Ken Jennings signed by me, Buzzy Cohen. As always, please subscribe to the podcast and follow us at Jeopardy on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitter, on X, and we will see you next week.
Happy Halloween.
Hey, Ken, what's that thing the kids say?
You mean smash the like, subscribe, and bell button so you'll be the first to know when we upload more great videos?
Yeah, that's it. Do that.